Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's Amina M, and I am here with two incredible friends and individuals that you may or may not know. I'd like to introduce to you Kyle Kemper. He is here with us, a very good friend of mine, and he's here to join us to have a great discussion of what's going on in Ottawa. Kyle Kemper is the half brother of Justin Trudeau, and he's here to say a lot about all the wonderful things going on in Ottawa, Canada. And he's here to join Mr. Pat King, who's talking from Ottawa. And he has been leading the convoy from out west all the way to Ottawa, and numerous other great work that he's done prior to this event. I've known Pat for a couple of years too, as well. And as you know, Pat knows, we've all been on the front lines doing a lot of work for freedom. So welcome, gentlemen. And this is the first time you're both meeting. So I'm very pleased and honored to have you both here and have a great discussion. So welcome.
Thanks for having me, Amina. And nice to meet you, Kyle.
Great to meet you too, Pat. Much love and gratitude for, being a catalyst for this incredible energy and this incredibly high vibration that Ottawa hasn't seen in a very, very long time. And, it feels like, every day we're getting, more and more small wins, and let's just keep going with that. So I'm really grateful to be here, and pleasure to be truly connected, and looking forward to this discussion.
This energy that was brought here is absolutely what Ottawa's needed for a very, very long time. Mm-hmm. I've always stepped on the grounds in Ottawa, and I've also always felt an energy drain. But there's something here that is not good, and we need to rechange that frequency in this country, in this province, and in this town itself, because there's too much negativity here, and it needs to be, that vibe needs to be brought back up.
It's interesting you say that, because you're an outsider coming into Ottawa, where Kyle and I have both lived there for many years. And I have the same sentiment. I feel the same way about that city, the darkness, and that, yes, there's a beautiful side to it for sure. There's beautiful people there. But, the administration that runs this place, the oligarchs, the Parliament Hill, that whole entire entity that's there, I've always felt the heaviness and the darkness there. I don't know, Kyle,
I'm from Ottawa. I grew up in Ottawa. I've spent so much of my life in Ottawa. I love Ottawa, but yes, I've also have felt a great darkness in Ottawa. I feel like there's in plain sight, like everywhere, every single Ottawa city logo. Like if you take a second just to look at the logo, it's very clear. It's 666. And I think that these are spells that are in plain sight, and that's something that hopefully gets addressed, because Ottawa is a very powerful town. Well before it was named Ottawa, it is a convergence of three rivers, and there's just a lot going on to it. And it has huge symbology and sacredness within the the First Nations community, if you want to call them that, or the Indigenous, like the elders of the land, the tribals. The tribes is one of the great meeting points. And, long ago, they decided to dam up one of our sacred falls that's more important than Niagara. That's it's equivalent of Niagara Falls. And they, use the power to fuel government buildings and a paper factory that is right downtown Ottawa. And I know there's a lot of people, and they've desecrated a sacred site in doing that as well. So want to talk about domination, desecration, that's old, but these are some of the underlying kind of issues that Ottawa has with it. But at the same time, it is also, it is our federal capital. It is where decisions are getting made, and it is where, generally representatives of Canada come together to discuss the future of Canada. And right now, thanks to Pat King and, thousands of other organizers and people who have been influential in making this all happen, we're seeing Canada being lit up with possibility. And this is vibrating out all around the world too, where we're seeing others view like, wow, this is a really powerful, tactic towards bringing people together. And like I mentioned, like a high vibration, behind me, I've got a picture of like, the Cup Unity 2022, the street hockey game that's taken place on Wellington Street. And then I saw some videos of like the party going on, like, outside the hill. And it really kind of, it reminds me a little bit of Burning Man, which is an unbelievable experience of unity. And I think a lot of those principles are being applied here, with all the gifting that's taking place, the radical inclusion. Like, it's not like, as much as it gets painted by, the actors on the other side, to try and smear this and dismiss this as like something that it isn't. What it really is, and what everybody there knows is, and what I'm feeling and what I'm seeing within like the freedom movement globally too, is that, this is something very major. And, this is the first time in a very long time I've actually wanted to be in Ottawa.
That's awesome.
You're funny.
Well, I want to just address this, Kyle. You're absolutely right. This is the vibes that we're going. It's like a giant tailgate party that Ottawa has been needing for a while. But you see, the last time I was here, and I just want to dive right into it, I've been a thorn in your brother's side for a very long time. And it isn't because I don't like him. It's because of the fact that what he's been doing to our people and doing to Canada in general, it's just not allowed when we look at what's happening. So you said something really important the other night that hit home to me, and I know it to be true. And you said, whatever they have on you, Justin, you need to address that. And I'm just curious, and I know we can get into deeper, darker, weirder things, but what do you think your brother's reasoning is to be doing this to the Canadian people and tarnishing our cultural ways and who we are as Canadians? What is the drive that is his reasoning for all of this? What do you
right
think?
Well, I mean, I'm going to start by saying, like, Justin is, the leader of the Liberal Party, and everything that's coming out of his mouth right now is written. All of his tweets are being produced by a team. All of his statements, he is the face and, like, the lead spokesperson for the Canadian government, but the policy and the initiatives that are driving it and that are driving his this narrative that he continues to push, which in my opinion is decidedly anti-Canadian and anti-freedom, is like coming down from the higher ups, from groups like the World Economic Forum, like the Council on Foreign Relations, like Bilderberg, etc. And they recognize, we need to have these strong kind of agents within governments. And I think one of the things we've seen is all around the world, we have, I'll be frank, weak leaders, who are able to like act as kind of spokespeople. And he is not speaking from his heart. I don't honestly believe, there is not candid. There's no discussion. This is why he's afraid to, or this is why he's not being allowed to actually engage with the Freedom Convoy and with these people, because there's a lot to unpack here. And there's a lot of serious questions. And, the truth is easily debated, but lies can't be debated. So it's like you don't even enter the debate when you were dealing with lies. So and then also, when you look at the history of people like Jeffrey Epstein, what their role was, to trap people and blackmail people, and you think about a lifetime of opulence and opportunity, you're probably you make mistakes, and or you get coerced into doing something bad. And I've heard from multiple people, not specific to Justin, but of situations where all of a sudden it's this girl comes out of nowhere and she's on it, and you're in a special room or a special house, and it's come on, like let's do that. Oh, you're married, but they're like pushing and they're trying to make something happen. And this is how, like, when a camera's on, then it's recorded, then you're blackmailed. And so, like, blackmail is a very powerful tool. And I'm not suggesting, I don't have any evidence. I'm not saying anything, but, like, generally, like, if we know that whole infrastructure is in place, like, to keep people in power accountable and on narrative, I mean, as a prime minister, as one of, like, the leaders of one of the great nations of the planet, you can come to your own conclusions about what what might have taken place, and that would kind of, like, and that's part of, like, this committing yourself to this cause is like, okay, going to get all this power and you're going to get all this wonderful world, but you've got to do this line. And when you commit to that, and then you don't know that, oh, you know what, 10 years later or whatever, we're going to all of a sudden impose, like, medical tyranny and, tantamount to genocide on a population. Like, man, I didn't sign up for that. Well, it doesn't matter that you didn't sign up for that, because you're in it now. You've got to do it because, we've got you by the balls. So,
right.
By the way, Kyle, so in 2020, he did an article he was interviewed by the National Post, and he spoke openly and factually from his point of view, and it caused him, for his family, to shut him out. So he's been going over a year now without any contact, and they don't talk to him because he went against the establishment. So,
yeah, and that article too, like, that was like an interview article that I did with, like, a reporter, and then obviously they cherry picked, like, what they want, and I'll be fair to them, they did a good job. They didn't, like, I told him, I was like, I'm going to talk about Event 201. I want you to know about Event 201, and, like, but I guarantee you try and put it in your story, like, just try, it's not going to make it to the publishing. And
we
so,
lost your voice sound there, Pat.
Say something.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying
to
get
get
something.
Okay, sorry.
But anyway, that was the nice thing about, I don't know, I felt what I liked about, doing that thing with the Western Standard was, like, okay, this is fully recorded, this is present, you can see me, like, you can see her, we're having a good discussion about this, because when you take quotes and you put them in articles and you line it up with this I dissent, anti-vaxxer, like, like labels and subjugation, then it kind of creates a narrative. And I know, Pat, like, you're dealing with that too. Like,
absolutely.
They're trying to label you as, like, trying to dismiss you and put you into, this little corner. And, I think one of the most important things that all of us need to kind of realize in this is, like, they're just trying to bait us and trying to get us angry,
divide us,
because when we get angry, when you let somebody make you angry, you're giving them power. So let's not let anybody make us angry here. Listen to those things, understand where they're coming, but be the better person, and just, don't let it get you angry. Fight fear and, like, negative attacks with love and truth and purpose. And when we come from this purpose point of view of what is the purpose of the convoy truck, and I mean, I think it's about freedom in Canada and restoring freedom in Canada. And, like, we believe in a Canada that is free. Who disagrees with that? Like, if that is your highest level purpose, that is an umbrella that people can come together underneath. Like, and then when you get into the specifics, as we get deeper within it, like, yeah, there's naturally going to be disagreements. Some people want to go this way, some people want to go that way. But as long as we can all agree on this high level, massive transformational purpose that we want Canada to be a free and prosperous country, then, we can all operate from that shared. We've got common ground. And we can recognize too that we do not, seek rulers too. We do not believe in non-sovereign actors, like, controlling our lives and, having access, being able to dictate, that we must take these fake vaccines and experimental drugs, in order to survive and thrive.
Well, and you're right, and that's what this is all about. And it is about freedom. It is about body autonomy. It is about choice. But my thing is with this is he needs to be a leader that stands up for his people. He needs to be a leader who can present himself in a manner that earns the respect of a nation. And calling people derogatories by minority fringe movements, racists, misogynists.
Mm-hmm.
I have a mother, Kyle, and I know you do too. And they taught us how to be respectful to people and everybody. We don't just fly off the handle and utter words out of our mouths that just appease what we want to say. What is his reasoning for calling us people that are misogynists, racists? Why would he say that? What kind of upbringing was he brought in to be able to look at people that he is a leader of and speak to us in such derogatory terms? I know you don't speak for him, but a little bit of insight of who Mr. Fancy Socks is would be great.
Yeah, I think it's like, it's coming from a place of fear now. Is what it is. Justin likes to be the popular person, and I don't see any path forward for him out of this. Like it's, I was looking at his kind of Mayan dream spell, like ancient kind of reading the other day, and it was intoned that he needs to have a symbolic kind of death. And it doesn't mean like actually dying, but in his life there needs to be this big symbolic death. And I feel like right now this is his opportunity to die this symbolic kind of death from a political career point of view, and step out. He's lost the confidence of the people, and if he continues to go down this path, like it's just going to get gnarlier and gnarlier. But if he chooses, if he can just like say enough is enough and I'm out, and I've lost the confidence of the people, I've lost the mandate of the people. I already represent a small minority of the people, but then for him to step down will trigger global freedom. Like it will not, that vibration will spread everywhere. And I think so. This is where his sign is a world bridger. So this is his opportunity to bridge this world from this this Piscean age of control and hierarchical dominance to this Aquarian decentralized energy age position that we need to go. And we've really, one of the things I feel like we are right now is we need the systems that we're using are completely broken, and representative democracy in its current function doesn't serve at all the will of the people. It is used as a means to kind of control the people. And as we're going to see, when I come from a place of cryptocurrency and decentralization, which you might have your feelings on, but with a blockchain you've been able to create a decentralized ledger, and with the emergence of DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, you can basically recreate a lot of these structures, but in a very transparent, accountable manner. And
world.
Indeed, it's how communities. It's they're unincorporated communities, basically. There are many different things, but there's an opportunity for us to think about, should we be using a government system like this parliamentarian representative democracy plus the Senate? Should we be continuing to use that, which was invented in a time of pre-electricity, when we now have electricity and internet, and we can send a message from Tofino to St. John's in milliseconds?
But I don't think he can use that messaging in Tofino when all he's doing is out surfing on the breakwater out by Skull Rock. So
right. I mean, and Justin, you can have an opportunity to go surf, go surf, go do what you love. Go spend time with your kids, because I know you've been separated from them for a large amount of time. Focus back on what it means to be a human, as opposed to what you think it means to be this leader. And this
Kyle,
is we need to move on.
What was Justin like? Just trying to extrapolate a little bit on Patrick's question, but what was he like growing up in your home? Tell us a little bit more about Justin as a child growing up.
He's intelligent. He was strong. He was always a competitor. I don't know. I mean, I love Justin. I love him as a brother, as a human from our times before. I'm really disappointed where we are now, but he was always kind of he was. I mean, we were kind of competitive, but he was a builder and a creator, and like likes to read a ton, and when we'd play all sorts of different games together, and he taught me how to snowboard, and we go canoeing, and I don't know, we've done a lot of many different kind of things, but we had I'd say in 2007 we had a bit of a breakdown, or maybe 2008, like after the SPP summit in Montebello. I was like, man, like these agents provocateurs like coming in and busting up this was like, this doesn't stand up. Plus 9/11, I always was talking about like the questions around that, and he just like it's like when you're so deep on a narrative, when like already I could see the priming towards it, and this was getting kind of dangerous, because it's like you can't listen to the truth about those things, so it's like automatic, or even be open for discussion and debate about these things. And that's when I've gone my way and looking at like at a very like macro level systems change about like that's why I got really interested in Bitcoin, because like I saw it and still view it as an opportunity to remove power from central banks, and like saw it as kind of the scalpel to the central banks cancer. And that's why I still kind of believe in that. But from our relationship and him, like I always had respect for him. He was able to really communicate well with a lot of people, touch people. Like he's really good at being like a connector, and when the story's right, when the narrative's right, he's good. But like now we're seeing he's in a tough position, and he's just reading the script, and it's getting pretty ugly, and like all of a sudden now he's not popular anymore. And then like in the last election, everywhere he was going, he was greeted by like serious opposition, people being like fed up and pissed off, and so here
Well,
we
we're
are many
seeing
years
we're
later.
seeing what the product of the end game that he's trying to deliver to us, and nobody wants that. So as we stand here and watch it, we're just asking. We're asking to be able to go to work. We're asking to be able to get appropriate medical treatment. We're asking to end this nonsense. 2 weeks to flatten the curve, yet we can't. He's the leader of this country. A leader can make
Well,
those calls, but
and he
this
should be
leader doesn't even
listening.
want to look at us.
He should be listening to us. What do we have to say? Why are we here? We're here for a reason instead of running. Absolutely.
I
A
agree.
a good
But
leader
but
gets
he's been
behind
from
his
the
people,
from
though,
the
right?
beginning. He's been like been a vaccine salesman. Like there's no interest in that. He never once mentioned vitamin D. Never once mentioned a healthy diet, healthy immune systems. None of that. This whole thing has been about this, and that's why this party needs to be removed from power. They represent, they got 32% of the vote in the last election, of allegedly 65% of a voter turnout of eligible voters. That's 22% of Canadians actually checked the box for him and his party and his policy. And how many of those people are of conscious mind is another question. So I think it's time. We're getting to the time now, and we're seeing this energy. And I think one of like the wins that we're seeing is the controlled opposition in Aaron O'Toole is out. So that wasn't going to happen. That would not have happened like without the convoy. Like that just wouldn't have happened at this moment. It would happen at some point, but that's like a step in that, because dude, like who is the party of like there's no representation whatsoever. There was no representation. I mean, there's some conservative MPs inside the House, but there's very little representation of like the voices and the hearts of a unified Canada who believe in freedom. And so I feel like that's changing.
Amina, I
Yes.
got a couple. And Kyle, I just want to apologize first and foremost. I have a lot of dirt on your brother, and I'm an investigative journalist, and I caught a couple things. And my request right now is, yeah, I told him to come. My request right now is, can you get a message to your brother? Can you get to him? I asked her to come. Can you get a message to him to, it is in his best interest to come and meet with the groups and the organizations that are here in Ottawa to allow us to have a voice with him. I understand he doesn't want to go into public. I understand he feels like there's a threat. I get that. I'd be scared shitless too. But at the same time, I think it's in his best interest as a leader of this country to sit down and meet with these organizers and understand that there is some conversations that need to be held. They can come in, eh? Bye.
Oh. A message from me, like personally saying that is, I mean, I can send a message, but I think, we need to publicly state this message as we're sending it right now of rallying, creating that cataclysm, because this is a public unified thing. We want, and if it's not okay, showing up to the front of Parliament Hill for it, it's we want to, we need to identify what is this ideal outcome that you want here, which is to meet with the organizers, to meet with him. Is it closed doors, off camera? Is it going to be recorded? Do we want it to be how long? What are the topics that are going to cover? And creating that safe space, maybe in a private zone. But I mean, yes, I wish I could tell you, Pat, that I can say jump and he'll jump, but that's not me. I'm on the outside, but I know that he absolutely he must meet with you, or people must meet with you, to continue these discussions.
Well, we ain't going anywhere. I can tell you that much. We've all made an oath to each other that we are not leaving until he shows his face.
Well, and more than just him showing his face, if he shows up, you're just going to leave? No, it's you got to get
when we say show his face, meaning he sits at the table.
Sit at the table. Sit at the table. I mean, show up to work. Come in,
exactly.
Come show up to Parliament Hill, show your face anywhere, to be open for discussion. You can't hide.
Not need to be quarantining.
We can't hide. We can't hide. And if it's and if you're not willing to do that, then I've got a message from some people being we've got a place for him to exile. Okay.
Right.
That's if you want to do that, if you need to get out, or you're going to leave, you leave, but we're not going to deal with the hologram of you, speaking virtually, because we are also in a crazy age where, you can basically have holograms representing people. We don't even know if we can't actually see you in person. We don't even really know with the sophistication of technology that you're a real that is a real person talking on the other end.
True story.
Yeah,
I agree.
Realize that. So Pat, what I just want to, first of all, I want to just step in and just say congratulations. Today you had a ceremony and the tribal people gave you a pipe, and that is amazing. Well done. You really deserve it. How beautiful.
I've now officially become a ceremonial pipe keeper.
That's carrier. Awesome. Wow, that's amazing.
I mean, that's not given lightly. That is recognition, which is important. We need to recognize and appreciate and celebrate, all the things that we've done. I mean, I saw Ezra's talk the other day, when he was talking about we've done it. We've done it. Bro, hold on a second. Yes, we've done a lot. Let's celebrate all our wins coming together. But this isn't over until, as you said, you've taken an oath. We've all taken an oath that we're standing here for freedom. And, and I feel last night I heard the horn stopped in the night. Is that true?
Yeah, just because we want to work and, and be sympathetic to the people around, but yet still get our voices heard. but we have to respect others, right? And that's the whole point of being professional about what we're doing.
Exactly. Amen. So it's like, and that just a sign. And it's like, I saw the cleaning, the polishing, the communal effort. Like these are all wonderful messages and inspiring behavior that we know, they don't want Canadians to really see that, and this is the difference between like the manufactured view of Canada from the media versus the reality of Canada and what's actually taking place. Like, what happens on the tube is not necessarily true, but I think we're seeing now more than ever, like citizen journalism and public broadcasting becoming more and more kind of powerful and potent. And
so what, Pat, what's the update right now with what's going on and what you're doing?
Right now, it turns out we're getting some ground back from the Ottawa Police Services. We've had the Ottawa Chief of Police openly put out a statement saying that he is very impressed with the amount of people that have been here, and no problems, no issues, no aggression, no violence, no damage, no vandalism or anything. So that we're gaining more ground back. So we're getting more chunk of the pavement, I guess you could say. Nice. And we've gathered Wellington Street back. We're about to move more trucks in. We're about to make available more opportunities for other vehicles to get in. And, today was just a day where we tried to get a ceremony going. And we're working together with our Algonquin chiefs to hopefully come to some kind of ratification within regards to allowing us to put up our teepees and start to begin with our healing ceremonies.
Oh, nice. That's fantastic. That's good news.
Yeah, we're getting some middle of the night vandalism though.
Oh,
so
really?
We're looking at this present time. We're looking at, and they're just punks. That's all it is.
Yeah, usually.
And we're just looking at formulating security for the next couple hours, like for the next nights, all the nights that we're out there, so our drivers can have some peace of mind. So security details are being put up, and mainly just a big tailgate party again.
Nice.
Having a good time, dancing
so Canadian.
in the street.
I love it.
Yeah, and just having fun, playing some hockey, like Kyle's picture in the background.
I love that.
I think we've got Friday night. Remember, like in the old days when you I think we got a big hockey tournament coming up.
Oh man, reading my mind. And then there's also and the canal too, right? That's also right there. Yeah. So right. Encouraging. I mean, like, so one of my other hats that I wear is I'm one of the organizers and leaders of the Decentralized Dance Party. So we've hosted,
fantastic, by the way.
We've hosted giant dance parties all around the world in public spaces, and we use FM transmitters. So we have an FM transmitter that then broadcasts out, so everybody's sound systems are all synced up.
Nice.
It's a very powerful tool. And I would encourage looking into that as well, because then you can basically have, you don't get massive range depending on how strong the transmitter is, but you get seamless audio across it all. And so then you have audio, and you can also have microphones, speaking. So, that's a way to kind of connect people. Radio is really powerful. You can't censor radio. You can jam it, but then you're jamming all radio. I don't think they'll do that.
Yeah, it's really awesome. I've experienced that with Kyle. That's how I know Kyle in the blockchain space. So it's a very powerful tool and powerful event.